Fan-made Command & Conquer shooter Renegade X gets a release date. Hearthstone begins open beta. Robots invade the fantasy world of Aion. StarCraft II Arcade goes completely free-to-play. Firefall receives $23 million in funds, and Sony shuts down 4 of their MMOs. These stories and more on this week's episode of Free-to-Play Weekly. Command & Conquer seems destined for a free-to-play title after all. After EA's latest major attempt at reviving the troubled series imploded before ever reaching open beta, the idea of a new legitimate CNC title, let alone another free one, seemed to have died with it. That is until someone remembered Renegade X, a completely free fan project which aims to revitalize EA's long-lost attempt at combining an FPS with the RTS series through the release of Command & Conquer Renegade. Renegade X attempts to recreate the feeling of the original by expanding on the game's concept using the Unreal 3 engine, all while ironing out the original's faults. Created by the mod team Totem Arts, Renegade X focuses on players working together to destroy the enemy's base, building by building. Each structure destroyed inhibits the enemy team from using certain upgrades or vehicle types, forcing players to adapt their strategies accordingly. The reimagining of Renegade has been in the works for over half a decade, and it shows in a good way. The game features a staggering amount of content split between 2 factions, with players running economies, 30 weapons, 15 vehicles, and perhaps best of all, the ability to call in various nuclear, ion cannons, and airstrikes. The FPS/TPS will be available to download starting on February 26th, and as the developers put it, Renegade is not free to play, not pay to win, just straight up free. Hearthstone's public existence has yet to pass the 1-year mark, and yet in that time the collectible card game from Blizzard has surrounded itself in a massive storm of attention. That storm may finally have reached its pinnacle, as the World of Warcraft-inspired CCG was just recently released into open beta for all regions. Hearthstone drew criticism last year after it was revealed players in the closed beta would not have their accounts wiped before open beta, giving closed beta participants a massive card advantage over newly entering open beta players. Blizzard originally intended to release Hearthstone in December, but delayed the release in order to fix some pressing last-minute bugs. Hearthstone is available on both PC and Mac, with iOS and Android promised sometime in the future. This January 29th, robots are set to invade the fantasy world of Aion. Ethertechs, which are suits of destruction with giant fists and electric whips, will be used by players in Aion's Update 4.5 expansion Steel Cavalry as a brand new class. For those not interested in the Mega Man meets fantasy feeling of the Ethertech, Steel Cavalry will also add a couple new abilities for each class and will feature 2 new instances, the Illuminary Obelisk and Iron Wall Warfront. New hairstyles, armor sets, and general tweaks are also in store for the expansion. Steel Cavalry appears to be releasing first in North America, with no current information available regarding its release date in Europe. Blizzard tossed the RTS community an awesome bone this week by lifting even more restrictions on their StarCraft II Starter Edition. Aside from providing the first 5 missions within the single-player campaign and even allowing some multiplayer options, the arcade, including all of its user-made maps, mods, and games within the starter, are now completely free-to-play. Arcade has come a long way from its initial release, giving players the liberty to create not only new mods and campaigns for StarCraft II, but even completely new games themselves. Those who are more about the framework than the strategy can freely take advantage of a world editor that configures terrain, UI, AI, and objectives. And there is even a special editor for cutscenes dedicated to all the potential filmmakers looking to walk the red carpet in the Battle.net realm. So why wait? Now is the perfect time to check out all the possibilities in the StarCraft II Arcade. After what many would call a rocky start for Red 5 Studios and Firefall, things might just be looking up for the developers and their future plans for the MMO. Upon entering into share purchase agreements with the Shanghai Oriental Pearl Culture Development Cooperation, Red 5 reached a deal securing another $23 million for the project. Even after some associated criticism with the game's formal budget costs, CEO James McCauley seems optimistic about the new investment, stating, "This additional round of funding will offer us the means to execute on our plan for successfully launching Firefall in 2014. This is the year Firefall takes flight. The entire Red 5 tribe is focused on creating top-quality content that will take Firefall to the next level, and we are excited for this next stage of development." Now that the financial burden has been lifted, it's expected Firefall will see a few more advances in their story campaign, among other enhancements, before the official release. Sony Online Entertainment will begin some unexpected spring cleaning early, starting the job by shutting down Star Wars, Clone Wars Adventures, and Free Realms on March 31st before finishing with Vanguard and Wizardry Online on July 31st. SOE's explanation for the sudden change of heart mirrors that of an employer laying someone off nicely, stating that we are always evaluating our portfolio to ensure we're providing players with the best gameplay experiences. At times, as part of this commitment, we have to make the difficult decision to sunset a game so we can refocus our resources on other areas in the best interest of our company and player community. There is, however, some light at the end of the tunnel. As CEO John Smedley revealed in a recent AMA on Reddit, the studio's next unannounced MMO would be dedicated to old fans of SOE's Star Wars galaxies. And the game of the week is Path of Exile. This hack-and-slash action RPG by Grinding Gear Games was created in response to delays for Diablo 2, and follows a similar theme with a few innovative changes that produce a very unique character build. With most of the familiarities of your usual dungeon crawler, Path of Exile also beats a different drum with an extensive list of color-coded skill gems that are used to devise an endless number of attacks and defenses. Items contain sockets which the gems can be socketed into, creating a series of skills and attributes that progress and level just as you do. As if that wasn't enough creative freedom, the character tree is one of the largest and most chaotic within the action RPG genre. While which character you choose has everything to do with what portion of the skill tree you start in, you are still free to invest points you earn as you quest and level any direction that you choose, making it very difficult for any two characters to be completely the same. Various quests take you through 4 acts of monster-slashing, dungeon-conquering madness at a pace that is steady enough to digest, but fast enough to rage. As opposed to most economic systems within RPGs, there is no gold or tender in Path of Exile. Instead, items are traded to vendors for various scrolls, jewels, and stones that can be used to identify and modify items, making the stash process a little more interesting than just the typical gold hoarding. So, if you love to hack and slash, raid dark dungeons, and build complex characters from the ground up, make sure to check out Path of Exile and go off the beaten path. And that's going to be all on this week's episode of Free-to-Play Weekly. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment in the comment section below. And be sure to head over to MMOBomb.com for more free-to-play action. Until next time, Natsumii out.